Well guys, good day and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the 100 day project. Day something or other. But it's time to talk money again. And this will be our 4th month on the road. Now, as always, these updates fall pretty much exactly a month. So this one will be running from the 18th of April to the 17th of May. I think most of this will incorporate our travels here in Greece, maybe a little bit of Italy as well. So without further ado, let's see how much we spent. If you can hear the waves of the bird song, I'm actually recording this from Little beach here in Greece. We've been here on and off for the last couple of days. Really popular spot for van folks. Some folks I think are pretty much full-time here, certainly over winter here, and I can see why. It's a really lovely spot. But anyway, you didn't come here to hear about Little Beach. You came here, I'm not quite sure why you've come here, but just in case you've come here to see how much we've spent in the last month, let's get into it. So as always, broken up into a couple of categories, and in no particular order, fuel. So £258 on fuel. I probably should start making a note on the mileage, because I guess that would give it at least some context. But I know that we filled up at least once, probably I think twice in Italy, and then once again here in Greece. The fuel prices in the last couple of days here in Greece seem to have increased. We have seen it as low as €157 per litre, and as high as about €169 per litre. Transport costs, now this is just mainly tolls, 30 quid. The tolls, I know we've actually paid more in tolls this month, but some of that has been cash that we got out last month. But what we spent on the card, I think one of the toll roads was about £22 of that actually. I'll put the link up which toll that was. I think the others only a couple of quid each. But yeah, £30 on tolls here in Greece. Groceries. And as always, groceries remain our biggest hitter each month. And that was £538. £536 actually, at £2. Makes all the difference. Groceries are not cheap in Greece. In fact, as I'll talk about at the end, Greece itself is not cheap. But yeah, £536 on groceries. Social and experiences, £273. Most of that, I guess, eating out, having a few beers, having a few coffees. I'm not sure, maybe we've went into a couple of different medieval places, archaeological places here in Greece. But yeah, 273 quid on social and experiences, which is still a heck of a lot less than what we would spend if we were back in Ireland, just going out to the pub or going out for something to eat per month. We haven't got any additional cash out this month. If you remember last month, we got £448 out, which we have started to use here and there. In fact, some places here in Greece prefer cash. So zero cash. We will probably have to get more cash out in the next week or so, but we haven't spent any or got any additional cash out. Camping. We've been a little bit naughty with camping since we got to Greece. So I've actually spent 300 quid on camping. When we first arrived in Greece, as you probably will have seen in last Sunday's video, we actually kind of enjoyed ourselves a little bit too much and stayed, I think, 5 nights at Valtos camping. And then this past weekend, we actually stayed 4 nights at the beach location that we were staying at. So maybe a little bit too much on the camping. The campsites are about 22 quid, including electricity, and that's for a camper van of our size and 2 people with electricity, so about 22 quid. Now what we're finding is we'd certainly want to go to a campsite at least once a week at the weekend, and that just allows us to fill up with water. I know you can get various places where you can fill up with water around Greece, but we just feel a little bit more comfortable getting that from a campsite. The laundry machines at the campsites also seem to be a little bit cheaper, so we do our laundry at the campsite as well. And in fact, tomorrow we'll be heading towards a campsite and doing that, getting our water serviced, getting all fresh water done, and our laundry done. So actually, even though we're spending maybe a little bit too much, I think if we did 1 or 2 nights a week, it would probably balance itself out a little bit more, because we wouldn't be having to pay additional money for laundry. And of course we do fill up with our fresh water as well as our water tanks. So 300 quid on campsites. And then finally, van repairs. Now This was van repairs, obviously, that happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago, back over in Italy when our auxiliary belt broke, and that was 370 quid. Now, we don't know anything about the van at all from an engineering perspective, from a mechanical perspective. Did we need to get that spent? I was in touch with our mechanic back in the UK, and he was kind of saying, I don't think you need the official VW auxiliary auxiliator, we'll go with that. But we got one anyway, and we got the brand new belt and all the other bits and pieces and pistons and flux capacitors and stuff. So that was 370 quid. So that gives us a grand total, bearing in mind that we got into Greece on the 26th of April. Now our ferry came out of last month's total. So about 3 weeks, in fact 3 weeks to the day tomorrow that we entered Greece. So a week in Italy and 3 weeks in Greece. A grand total of £1,767, and that includes the £370 of van repairs. So I guess if you didn't include the van repairs, and we are because it is part of our monthly cost, but if we didn't have the van repairs this last month, then our total would have been £1,397, which is still staying below our £1,500 sort of rough budget that we were looking to do. So not too bad, not too bad. Now, just a couple of comparisons that I thought was quite interesting. So the month that we spent in Spain, which was between the 18th of February and the 17th of March, I'll just do a little bit of a comparison. Looking at groceries, now we, again, don't really, we eat very well. I think Nicola gets quite peed off with what we eat, and I could eat the same thing day in, day out. But it's pasta, it's rice, it's salads, the odd bit of fish, the odd bit of chicken, maybe the odd bit of red meat, sort of water, a few beers here and there. The groceries in Spain for a month, 395 quid. Here, a little bit of Italy and 3 weeks in Greece, £536. So about 140 quid more on groceries, and that's certainly what we have seen. Now it's probably on a par, I would say, maybe with France, but certainly Portugal and Spain remain the cheapest from a grocery perspective. Social and going out, 300 quid in Spain and 273 quid here. So while that may seem quite similar, I would say we were going out more, especially for coffees in Spain, than we are here. I think we'll talk about this in Sunday's vlog. We were up in a little kind of mountain village yesterday, and I was quite interested to see how much kind of coffees were, because we've typically seen coffees anywhere between sort of €2 and €3, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too bad, but again, with the whole Spanish head on, it's a lot more. So we got a large cappuccino and a small cappuccino, and it was €7.50. Typically you would say about €3.50 for a 400ml beer. €3.50, €4. Spirits are very expensive. We don't drink spirits out. Eating out maybe isn't too bad, but yeah, the groceries and the coffees and the alcohol is certainly much more expensive than Spain. Now, just a word on the campsites. We, as I said, have maybe pushed the boat out a little bit too much with the campsites, and we're going to try to kind of limit that to 1 or 2 days at the weekend going forward. We haven't found any issues so far with wild camping. We haven't been moved on. Obviously, kind of wild camping is, some people say tolerate it, some people say they still get moved on. Obviously, we're using Park for Night and checking the most recent reviews. So again, when we leave the campsite, sort of beginning of next week, again another 5-6 days of wild camping. Hopefully there won't be any issues, but so far we haven't seen any. And in fact, we've actually come across some really, really beautiful wild camping spots, including here in Elia. And just a quick word on groceries. I don't think there's any one particular food item that we notice is much more expensive that we regularly buy. Of course, up in Norway, the tomatoes were crazy prices. So I think it's just general, maybe, 10, 15, 20 cents more per item that actually pushes your bill up. Now, having said that, so we've spent 536 quid on groceries this month. I would say we probably would spend more than that, or at least it's the same as that if we were back in Ireland. So we're not kind of going too crazy, but yeah, don't come to Greece thinking that it's going to be super, super cheap, especially if you've been used to Spanish prices. And then just to summarise and wrap things up, so the running totals, so say we left on the 18th of January, it's now, as we're recording this, the 17th of May. So fuel, £888, and I think we've done about 6,000 miles or so, something like that, six and a bit thousand miles. Transport, which does not include the Eurotunnel when we first came across, £509. Groceries, £1,899, so 1,900 quid. Social and experiences, £1,086. We've got an additional £928 out in cash. We've spent £804 in camping, and obviously the 370 quid in van repairs, which then gives us a monthly average over the last 4 months. Fuel, 222. Transport, 127. Groceries, 475. Social and experiences, 271. Cash, 232. Camping, 200 quid. And van repairs, averaged out over the 4 months, £92. So in the last 4 months, a grand total of £6,484, with an average per month, 1,620 quid. So we're just above our target of 1,500 quid a month. Now we're going to be in Greece for at least another 4 weeks. So next month's update will be 100% Greek van life costs. So it will be interesting to see what 1 month living 2 people in a camper van in Greece costs. As I say, I think where we can probably save a little bit of money is on the campsites, because I think we're going to try to now limit it to 1 or 2 days per month. But I think everything else is pretty much on target. Another monthly update. They seem to come around quicker and quicker each month. We're obviously having a lot of fun travelling through Greece. Time's going far too quickly. And in fact, we were just saying that we're 4 months into the trip. Obviously with van MOTs and various bits and pieces, we're probably going to be back in Ireland in November. So we're getting close to halfway through this year's travels. So yeah. But yeah, we're going to be in Greece for probably just over another month. So next month's costs will be a full month of van life Greek costs. Well guys, hopefully you're finding these little cost updates useful. Obviously if there's anything in particular that you'd like to know about, not just van life Greece costs, but just in general, please do pop it in the comments below. For now, I have one last very dull digestive biscuit to dunk in my tea. I will finish that. I'll go and edit this vlog, get it uploaded, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching. But from the 100-day project, day something or other, we shall catch up tomorrow.